Guess who's late? Late again. SG's late. Tell a friend. Guess who's late? Guess who's late? Guess who's late? So how's everybody doing today? See if anybody shows up. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Well, wait before I talk about the stories I want to talk about, as I do research them, and you know, I mean, I do know that people rewatch live streams, so I will end up telling them anyway, regardless of if anybody watches while it's live. But it would be nice to have people stop in, say hello. You know, I do enjoy it. I hope everybody's having a good day today. It was a nice day. Hey, Sean Mac, how you doing? Oh, really? Oh, I had some good stories I wanted to tell. Too bad. How was your live stream last night? I'm sorry I missed it. I stayed off YouTube last night. I mean, I watch YouTube, like crime shows and stuff, shows that I watch, but not, I didn't go into the community stuff. Hope everyone's doing okay. Hey, Mr. Rourke. S. the Felcher G. Hey, I know, I was a little late. I was a little late. I've been watching this show, right? Um, it's like, courtroom dramas, how like people act in court, their responses and stuff like that. And there was one I watched. You didn't try my sauce. Shut up, Mr. Rourke, you silly boy. Silly, silly guy. Ben. Hello, Ben. The kid's name. I changed my thumbnail for this live stream because I don't have a second device, so I can't show the pictures that I want to show. So I put two different thumbnails, one for 20 minutes and the other one for 20 minutes. The one that's up there now is a kid. His name was Spencer Boston, and the from Tennessee. And the show that I was watching was that you could see like he looks like the hippie type kid that probably goes to Grateful Dead concerts. Just uh, if you look him up on YouTube, you'll see the original courtroom case that happened. He was a pot smoker, and that the title of the hi Dominic and the title of the live stream today, The People Deserve Better. That's what he was shouting when they took him out of the courtroom, because he ends up being, his name's Spencer Boston, okay? And on January 27th, 2020, he ended up in court, right? It was for disorderly conduct and a simple possession charge. So he goes in and, no representation. He's representing himself. And he's talking about how pot should be legal. And I don't know if it is legal in Tennessee yet. This was January 27th, 2020. So I'm assuming by the time the court thing came up, I don't know if it was 2019 when the original charges had come up. So he's talking to this judge, um, about how, hi, Tommy, about how, pot should be legal and all this stuff. And the judge seemed like he just wanted to get this over with and done, and he said, but it's not in Tennessee. And I've taken an oath to, I really think this kid was just going to walk out with a slap on the hand, he eventually did, even with what ends up happening. But, the point of this is like 15 minutes of fame. Andy Warhol coined that phrase that people would end up having their 15 minutes of fame. And, this is basically was his 15 minutes of fame. Probably, since the videos and stuff. Hi, Kat. How are you? Since the videos are all still up, like I said, if you look up Spencer Boston, that was his name, Spencer Boston. That's the kid that's in the thumbnail. And so this judge says, like I said, he said, I've taken an oath to uphold the law, and unfortunately, marijuana is not, legal in Tennessee. And it really looked like, I mean, nobody was really paying attention to the kid. He wasn't handcuffed or anything. Um, and he said, you're probably right. That's what he said to the kid. He goes, you're probably right, young man, but, I took an oath. And, he really looked like he was just ready to throw this shit out. So while nobody's paying attention to this guy, Spencer Boston, 20 years old, the kid that's in the thumbnail, he reaches into his sweater that he's got on, pulls out a joint, right? And then he gets a book of matches and he lights the joint up at court. Literally, he lights the joint up in court. And, it was like a protest. He's like protesting that marijuana should be legal. So he fires up this joint, and that's when everybody notices. They didn't notice him even reaching into his sweater. He could have been getting anything, right? But he pulls out a joint, book of matches, lights it up. So of course, the court gets into a uproar, and they drag him out. They don't have to drag him out, but they escort him out of the court, and he's saying, "The people deserve better. The people deserve better." Right? So I wanted to look up what happened to him after that. Unfortunately, what happened was, well, because of the lighting the joint up, he served 10 days. It says he did 10 days with no bail. So, he didn't really even have to do much about that. And he ended up being pretty, well known on YouTube. He said he didn't do it for attention. He did it as a protest. But on January 21st, 2021, he had turned 21 then. So we're looking at almost a year later, 6 days from, a year anniversary of when he lit the joint up. He was traveling down Interstate 40 in Wilson County, Tennessee, and eastbound, and he lost control of a 2009 Nissan Altima, struck the traffic barrier with the rear portion of the car hitting the traffic barrier. The car spun counterclockwise 200 feet. He was ejected. He struck the guardrail support, and he died at the scene. There was no evidence of drug or alcohol at the scene, and with the autopsy, no evidence of drug or alcohol in him. I felt so sad about it when I read it. I mean, the guy, 21 years old, 21, and that was his 15 minutes of fame right there. And at the end of the day, he wasn't even stoned when the car just, for some reason, he lost control of the car. It didn't mention anything about the weather conditions. It was late at night. And I'm thinking he might not have had his seatbelt on. That probably was the worst thing that he was guilty of that night in that crash. And I thought, how sad. I mean, this kid looked like he was just one of those hippie dudes, peace, love, flowers for everyone. And here he is by himself in the car. No, one car accident. It's a one car accident. And I thought it was pretty sad that I wasn't expecting to when I read that, you know, what had happened. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting, maybe something happened good, maybe there was something different in his life, something different happened. What do you mean peace, love, tacos? SG, get it right. Yeah, peace, love, taco, right, yeah. No, I don't think it was, well, who knows? Maybe it was. Maybe, Um, but I just thought, wow, what a young life to be snuffed out like that, wiped out like that. Just who knows? Maybe he was even just, going to get some weed. Maybe that's why there was no drugs found at the scene or alcohol. But the kid was just protesting. He wanted, pot to be legal. And I couldn't believe he lit that joint up right in the middle of court, standing right there. And not one person in that court, not even the bailiffs, even noticed him reaching into his sweater. I thought that was really just, you know, crazy. One of the other ones I watched, man, wow, the guy was in there as one of the other ones was this guy was in as a sex, he was a sexual predator, you know, and this guy was sitting there, near his attorney. It was before court had began, when people are just getting their paperwork ready and everything, and you've got the court secretary there, that stenographer or whatever. She's sitting up there, and she's behind this desk, like, and the guy is sitting near his lawyer, not handcuffed, mind you, and he keeps looking at this secretary, and she's not like, this super ultra, hot secretary or anything, but he keeps looking at her. And then, and there's two bailiffs that were in the back of the courtroom, and a man and a woman, and they're talking and stuff. They're not noticing. Nobody's noticing shit. So this guy gets up, jumps up, and makes a dash for the secretary. Isn't that wild? Like his mind couldn't stop thinking about attacking whatever woman was in there. You know, his mind was just right focused on this woman, and he went right for her. So, you see the two, the cops, the deputy, whatever they are in the bailiff's courtroom, supposed to be providing security. One a man, one a woman. Well, doesn't the man take off out the door? The other cop, the bailiff, whatever they are in there, takes off out the door. The woman, one though, she books it, and she grabs this guy before he can reach the secretary. And I mean, from the back of the courtroom to the front of the courtroom, she got him before he could even reach that secretary. And she gets him and she downs him. While in the meantime, the other guy is gone out of the room. Took off. Took off. I hope he got fired. The other one, man. I really hope he got fired because I was just in shock that you know, the other one just left them to their own devices. Like, wow, that's not his job to run out of the courtroom. when somebody, is trying to attack the court stenographer there. I mean, like, what is wrong with that guy? That woman, though, man, she slammed him onto the ground. Yep, she was on him like white on rice. I'm telling you. So she was pretty impressive. It was really a pretty good. It's a good show. It just shows like these cases of how the criminals acted in court, and some of them they just got off with a slap on the wrist, or they would have had they not been so. Oh my god, like crazy, you know, just insane. So there's another story I have of 15 minutes of fame. This one was the first thumbnail that I used was the picture of Jessica Dubroff. Dubroff. Jessica Dubroff. She was born 1988. She died in 96. Uh, from the thumbnail, that picture was taken on the runway where she in Cheyenne, Wyoming. And if you take a well, I have to if you looked at the thumbnail before, you'd see the clouds in the sky, the background, the look on her face. And I thought it was just so horrible. I don't know if anybody remembers this, but that little girl was supposed to fly from, you know, sea to shining. It was a sea to shining sea. So she was going to go across the U.S. Her first, her first trip was successful, and they were on their last. Why we got nice girl? Um, you guys talking about in there, Detroit? You guys are all from Detroit, right? Except for Ben. Ben isn't, and Sean isn't. But a good majority, not Detroit, but Michigan, I should say. Michigan. I know. I mean, really. Nah, we got those type of girls everywhere. You know what I mean? Everywhere is different. You know, everywhere is different. I mean, everywhere is different, but the same, really, in a way, right? I don't even know if you guys are like even listening to what I'm saying up here. You guys have your own conversation going on in there, which is just I like it. I don't mind it at all. I like that you guys are friends and you talk, and I do. I appreciate. I like the camaraderie between people. Even if there's a lot of anger and stuff on YouTube, I do like the camaraderie. It's okay. I know you. I was just kidding. uh, and I'm listening to you guys too. My aunt used to own the Midas muffler and Pontiac and the one. Oh yeah, that's why you know so much about cars, right, Dominic? Right? In Pontiac. Is that where they used to make Pontiacs? Is that why they call it Pontiac? Isn't there a place called Cadillac too? Is there? Is there a place called Cadillac? Come on, you guys have some really strange names for your city. I think Pontiac and Bloomfield Hills. Is it where they used to make Pontiacs? No, other aunt and uncle owned two salvage yards. Oh, Pontiac, correct. Wait a minute, don't I have a Pontiac? Don't I have a Pontiac? I got a Pontiac. I like Pontiac. Remember Gremlins? Remember those? And Pacers? Remember Pacers? Oh my God. You know, I hate those ones though now that I see that are little tiny two-seaters. They look like clown cars. They're so unsafe. In a crash, there'd be no, I mean, think about that. Those little tiny ones, you know what ones I'm talking about? Are they like electric cars or something? No, the ones now. And they're like tiny, teeny, weeny cars. So anyway, the woman, the girl, the little girl I'm talking about, that was in the first thumbnail. And I don't know if you guys remember that. Her name was Jessica Dubroff. Her parents pushed that. She didn't even want to fly. She only had clocked 33 hours airtime. They had to have a booster seat behind the flying instruments and everything, a booster seat and extension so she could reach the pedal. And in an interview, in that picture that I had in the thumbnail, that's the sky, how they were. They had even offered them, that was in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and the news reporters and the media were even worried about them taking off in that weather. And she said it herself. She was tired. She'd only slept 2 hours the night before. She was cold. She didn't want to go that night. She didn't even want to be a pilot or anything. She didn't express any interest in it. Her father, her father, now I didn't know this. I didn't realize this. I guess if you're over a certain height, you can't be a pilot. Now, I did not know that. And he was 6'4". He had always wanted to be in the Air Force and be a pilot, but he was 6'4" and was too tall to be a pilot. So he was always in like bankruptcy cases, eviction cases, not paying his taxes, always trying to think of a way to make money. So on her 6th birthday, they gave Jessica flying instructions. Okay. I guess trying to live vicariously through his daughter. Now, the teacher, Joe Reed, knew she had only clocked 33 hours. Both of them, before what ends up happened, they were both to the media basically, um, you know, oh, we came up with the plan. No, we came up with the plan. Of course, afterwards, neither one wanted to take any kind of responsibility. But they were offering them, a free place to stay because they knew that the weather was bad. But they used a loophole, kind of, that basically the loophole was no pilots over 16 can fly with less than these hours, or in this kind of weather. So they used the loophole of her being under 16 to fly with less than this amount of hours and in this particular weather. Isn't that crazy? Like, they didn't care about the safety. In an interview with People magazine, right after the crash, her father said, quote, sometimes my ideas work out, sometimes they don't, but I'm always looking for an opportunity to make money. Can you believe that? That was his quoted phrase to People magazine. To People magazine. Sometimes his ideas work out, sometimes they don't. I'm always looking for an opportunity to make money. When they took off in Cheyenne, the plane's wings were shaking. It went into a spin. Didn't even get 200 feet. It crashed. After when they had first announced their sea to shining sea plan of having this 8-year-old pilot fly from California to the Cape and then back, they immediately had caps and T-shirts made up with "Sea to Shining Sea" that they were going to be handing out at every stop they made, scattered all around the debris of this crash was those caps and those T-shirts all over the place. No one lived. The bodies were just completely mangled. The thunder, I mean, it said that when they took off, the windshield wipers weren't even on, and then the thunder started immediately, and that was it. I mean, this little girl in the looks just like she doesn't even want to go. She would slept 2 hours the night before, and her parents and the instructor were like, "No, no, no, we've got it, we've got it," and that was it. She had her 15 minutes of fame. 15 minutes of fame. And her father, and the man, I mean, they died with her. Hi, King of Ipswich. They died with her, and that was basically, yeah. Actually, they couldn't have died with her. That doesn't even make sense. Right after the crash, how the hell could he have given an interview? Because that's what it said right after the crash. He told People magazine. So maybe the father didn't die. Maybe he did live. He must have, or he wouldn't have been given no interview, right? I'm gonna look that up right now. I'll be right back. Yeah, it was Ruth Schwartz who was in the interview that had worked with Lord Dubroff because he did end up dying in it. Anyway, look at it. It's a callous statement to say sometimes his ideas worked out, sometimes they didn't. He was always looking for an opportunity to make money. I just think, that was a little more than an idea. DB Cooper. You never heard of DB Cooper? But I guess, what a weird family. While I was just looking through the whole thing, not a family, but the parents were okay. I'm not calling New Age weird, but everything they did was strange. Even the funeral, the mother, the way she did the funeral was really odd. It was like they were just uh, so so into wanting to make money somehow. I was talking to someone the other day too that owes quite a bit of money in that, right? And I said, "Oh, did you try this plan? They might end up. I hear that they pay this much in back rent." And they said, "Yeah, but you got to be homeless before they'll pay that." I said, "Yeah, but if they pay your back rent, then you wouldn't be homeless." And they said, "Yeah, but I don't plan on staying here, so I'm gonna wait till I can get the money from these people so I can get a new place." Thought to myself, wow, there's been so many times this particular person has bought cars that have had to be repossessed, had house that was foreclosed on, lived places that they ended up just like leaving, because they owed rent and just going like a midnight move and then moving into another place. And I thought, that's so fucked up. That's so fucked up that your plan is to fucking stick these people. And in your mind, you're entitled to just go through life and not pay your rent and make everything higher for everybody else that has to pick up the slack for that. When there's shoplifters and for the amount of stuff that gets stolen from a store, you have to, there's like a dollar amount on the stuff that gets stolen, and um, so to make up for the money for the losses, the people who pay for their food are the ones who get stuck with that bill. You know, I think that should be something that's covered in their like insurance plan, and they should have to take measures to make certain that they're not, gonna be stolen from, and that if there are a store that has a high percent of shoplifters, then their premiums should have to go up because they're not taking the measures to prevent that. But I mean, how do they prove in order, to say, oh, well, the reason why we have to go up so high is because people, when they're shoplifting, we have to cover that amount. But how do they prove that? They don't have to. So they can just keep using that excuse that, they have a lot of shoplifters. It should be something that I don't know about you guys. I do know that lately, I've been, when you go grocery shopping, food has increased so much. The cost is amazing. And you know what they do too is you'll notice that, I mean, look at a box of cereal. It's like $4 or more, close to five. A box of cereal. I know, right? Oh my God, I know. I know. I get so mad. You ever been with somebody and you're in the store, you just think they're a fucking normal person who knows that they're supposed to pay for stuff. And then you get out in the car with them and they fucking pull out some shit that they stole. Oh my God. I'll be appalled. Appalled. I took some kids one time. They weren't, they were my friend's kids. I took them, shopping with me. We went to this place. It was called Savers. I like thrift stores. Sometimes you can find some really great stuff. So fucking, we leave in the car. These motherfuckers are pulling out all kinds of clothes under their clothes. They had brought them into the dressing room and put clothes on. This is years ago. I, right then and there, I mean, never again would I go. And I didn't, I was just appalled. I didn't say anything to the mother, but then I ended up because the mother, she starts yelling at me saying, how did you let them spend all this money? I said, okay, first of all, I don't even know. Like, all I know is I saw her pay cash for sneakers. I said, and they were on sale from down from like, 80 to 40, it was a good deal. I said, and that was specifically what supposedly we were going for, and that was a nice, not a, that wasn't a thrift store, that was like a sneaker store. And there were nice sneakers, half price. That was, great deal. I said, but that other stuff, and didn't want to get them, and I said, but they stole that. I said, of course I'm not going to bring them back to the store and say, oh, they stole this stuff. And I'm not going to try to get them in trouble with their parents. I'm not that type, but I'm certainly not going to bring them ever again. But once then it gets fucking pinned on me that, oh, you let them buy. No, 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 no. Now deals off. You know, if you get in trouble for something, don't try to say fucking me and think I'm still covering for your ass. No. Another one, I took to fucking breakfast one time. Not the same people. This was just another one that I would never take anywhere ever again. Um, Take her and her daughter to breakfast. First of all, she didn't even come in until fucking we were almost done with breakfast, me and her daughter. Because, I don't know, she was fucking, is that a spider? Oh my God, is it? Is it? Is it? Kind of looks like one. Oh my God, I don't know. Everybody knows how I feel about spiders. I don't like them. I was all loving on my dog in the car today. These people fucking pull up next to me. I'm like, hey, what do you want me to do? You know what our song is? So happy together. That's me and Roscoe's song. I can't see me loving nobody but you. Mwah. For all my life. Yeah. When you're with me, baby, the skies will be blue for all my life. Yeah, right, Roscoe? Yeah, yeah, that's right, Mom. True. See? True. Everybody? So you know. And Roscoe got all mad at the people. He was barking at him. You didn't send me no package. Package. Oh, you're an asshole talking about that goddamn spider shit again. I gotta check and see this spider. I honestly think I see legs. I don't like that shit, man. Don't they know that outside is perfectly fine for them? In here, this is like coming into their death trap. Yeah, Mom, let me speak. Let you speak. What do you want to say? I got a lot I gotta say, Lord. She's mine, Lord. She's mine. You're so silly. Mine, I say. Get back under the covers, would you? Bye. Uh, I was reading a story about Snooky. Is that her name? Snooky from Jersey Shore. I didn't know she got dead punched right in the face by some guy. You guys see that shit? She got punched in the face on the show by a guy. He was a gym teacher in New York City. So in New York City, now I want to look this up and see if they still have this, but they have, for teachers they have something called the rubber room, which if a teacher does something that is, unruly, I don't watch it either. I don't watch it either. But I was just looking through some stuff, and if they're accused of a wrongdoing, a New York City teacher, they're sent to like an in-house detention almost, which is called a rubber room. I wonder if it's actually got rubber in it. Where they sit for 7 hours a day, 5 days a week without working, but still getting paid. Isn't that crazy? I didn't know anything about that. I knew nothing about that. What did anybody do today? Is it 420? No, it's not 420. It's 420 time. Not 420 time. So who's in the room right now? Anybody? Mr. Rourke. I didn't watch Jersey Shore either. Never, ever. Never watched it. Chorizo? That's a spicy sausage, like Portuguese, right? Is he sausage? Ah, any good lives going on tonight that anybody knows about? We gotta do a good ghost live. I gotta get in the shower and food like fresh. Been up since 2:30 a.m. Night, Dominic. Night, night. Night, night, Dominic. Dom in New York City. Dom in New York City. No, I never watched it either. Hmm. When you're with me, baby, the skies will be blue all my life. Yep, so those were my hello, King of Ipswich. And you can block that person. I'll block him. Um, oh, someone else did. Thank you. Thank you very much. If you can remove that comment too, that'd be great. I don't know if it gets removed. Oops, I just put it up there. Durr. Silly me. I didn't mean to. Because on my end, it's still showing, so I don't know if it's, yeah. That's somebody doxing. I don't know who, but somebody. Don't know who. Oh, gosh. These people, man, they're so pathetic. 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 Honestly, pathetic. You know? Really. I'll tell ya. It's in the name. It won't show. So ridiculous, these people. And I have to think that it's somebody who um tricked a lot of people into trusting them and probably sending them their email address and their um real names, real addresses. Somebody who mails a lot of stuff to people. You know, I'm just saying. Um, yeah, somebody who probably shares, pictures with people through emails and they get, I don't know, I think there's a way to get your locality. Yeah, I think there's a way to get your locality through when you take a picture and you email it to somebody, you can get their like what triangulate on them or something. Yeah, there's somebody who is so saccharine sweet, so saccharine sweet that literally they can get a lot of people's information with their saccharine sweetness, but then people that they don't want to succeed with their channels or things like that, they actually will turn around and stab them in the back. And I know a few people, they don't want to believe that, but if that docs right now was the person I think, then I think they should think about somebody who probably has their information and probably didn't do what they said they were going to do recently. I know there was some talk of two people doing a channel together and um, and they never ended up doing that. Somehow, some way, it kind of went the opposite direction. And now suddenly that person is being doxxed. So I think they should think about, you know, hi, is that the real one? Is that the real Sharon? I'm just curious. I'm all right. How are you? If that's the real Sharon. I really think, is it the real Sharon? If it is, you can come up on the panel and drop the link. I know. Can you hear those motorcycles really loud from here? I hope it's the real Sharon. I don't have no any problem with Sharon. I don't really have any problem with anybody except like, one person um that is so saccharine sweet and yet not sweet. Ruh-roh, right? Oh, that was the quickest shower ever, Sean. Oh, actually, no, it was Dominic who just said that. Oh, a little sausage party in here, right? A little sausage party in here. I don't mind. Yeah, I don't know. Like, she's not saying anything if it is her, so anything more. So it might not be. I'm not sure. Now I have that song stuck in my head. I can't see me loving nobody but you all my life. Who is that? Is that a band called the Turtles? SG's men are clean. Because he's out of the shower. It's funny. Yeah, yeah. They all shower when they come in here. They all shower when they come in here. Hey, it's a fine by me. I like it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. Not like that's right. I mean, like, but I would go to a good kielbasa festival. I'm not gonna lie. I like kielbasa festival for roll call. Roll call. I like to. They don't have them anymore much as I would like there to be more kielbasa festivals. I'm just saying, with sauerkraut and mustard and some kapusta, like a nice Polish platter. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, a nice, like, I love kapusta. Do you guys have like a Polish, like a good, like, where I live is predominantly, I don't know why, but it seems like there's a lot of Polish people in this town. Um, I mean, there's a big diversity of people here, but it's very, whatever. There's a lot of like the Euros or Euro. Oh, Euro. You mean a grinder? You mean a grinder? And I don't mean like the dating app grinder. Hamtramck. What's Hamtramck? What's Hamtramck? I like bratwurst. Is it bratwurst or bratwurst? I always say bratwurst, but is it bratwurst with? I never had a grinder with that. The grinder is a grinder. Oh, Polish community. Now, do they have good? Like, I like it. I'm sorry, I can't help it. I just like tabasco with mustard and sauerkraut and kapusta, and then on the platter, I want a pierogi. Now, usually, because I'll get the kapusta and the sauerkraut with my pasta, I'll go for the potato and cheese, maybe. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think I go for the cabbage, not brat. Okay, brat, brat. I was right. Not brat. I was right. Bratwurst. And that's kind of white, right? Yeah, I go for the cabbage. I'm sorry. I'm lying when I say potato and cheese. Oh, unless they have sour cream. They have sour cream, and then I'll get on Pomsky. Pierogi, pierogi, pierogi. Arr, arr. I like cheese on everything. I can chow. I get mad if somebody. I mean, if they're gonna get their own dinner and they want to like, well, okay, but I get to order it because I get to order. I mean, yes, they can have their say. They can have their say, but usually I will order for the table because because I'm like that, right? Not that I'm bossy and I make people eat stuff they don't want to eat, but I'm probably gonna want to try some of whatever is everything on the menu, right? So, then let's just come to an agreement of something. Ooh, I got spinach, feta, cheese, chicken sausage, chicken sausage, chicken sausage. Yeah, no chicken sausage. There's no such thing as a chicken sausage. You know what I don't like? Chicken and egg mixed together. Not big on that. Freaks me out. Peanut butter and cheese. I used to like banana sandwiches. I'll eat them. I'll eat them. I don't want no chicken in my sausage. That's not supposed to be that. What is it supposed to be? Beef? I like spinach. And I like feta cheese. I like both that on my pizza. Oh, you know what though? I will get spinach, feta cheese, and chicken pizza. I like that with garlic and black olives. Mmm, that's good. White though, gotta be white with garlic sauce. Ew, ugh, that sounds gross. They were kidding you. Be a lady mama lie. I like a Greek salad, but the only thing I don't like it about it is I love olives, but I don't want them to have the seed in it. I don't like that seed in them. Mm-mm. You know the olives are. You know they live in the Philippines. So, then tell us about in the Philippines. I used to have a friend from the Philippines. Oh my god, he was the funniest motherfucker ever. His name was George. Oh my god, I would call him Jorge. Stop it, Mr. George. I was watching um news bloopers, and this this one lady, she was like a chef on some show. You know, the segment was like the cooking, and so the guy comes out, and it was her and the lady newscat, you know, whatever host, and she makes something, and then the guy comes out to try it, and the the other, you know, the female host says, "Oh, are you coming out for, you know, this lady, you know, to try her food?" And he goes, "Oh yeah," and she's like, "Oh yeah, he'll come out to try anything I cook. He even wants me to toss his salad." And like the guy was like, "What?" Oh my god, it was just so fun. There was some really funny shit. Like there was one that was an interview. It was the funniest interviews ever. You know, and there was this black kid, right? His name was Antoine Antoine Dodson, right? And they fucking his the this person had pushed this like one of those recycling bins up to the, you know, thing so that they could climb up onto the second floor and get through the window in these projects. And they got into bed with his sister. And so the kid wakes up, and he's this light skinned, skinny black kid with like a bandana on his head and, you know, like the kerchief like looking. And he's going, hide your wives, hide your kids, hide your hide your, you know, hide your family, hide everything, because they're coming, they're raping people down here, you know what I mean? Like, oh, he was funny. His interview was pretty funny. And then they also had the interview with that black guy with remember the guy, he was oh my god, Castro, not Fidel Castro, but the guy that had the women for 10 years. Remember that? For 10 years. And that, now where was that? Where did that happen? Was that in Cleveland or something? Can't remember. The guy's name was, his last name was Castro. And he had the girls for 10 years. And one of them finally escaped and ran to the house across the street and, you know, said her name. And it was a black guy. And when he gave the interview, he said, you know, when a pretty blonde haired, uh, blue eyed girl runs into the arms of a black guy, something's wrong, or something he said in the interview. You know, people were pretty funny though. Yeah, I just basically watched all these shows yesterday that would make me laugh and everything, you know. I didn't want to watch whatever was going on YouTube anymore with the drama and the whole fighting and this and that and this and that. Because I think that I just think that like girl something ain't right. Yeah, something ain't right. Something. Yeah, he says something ain't right. Okay, so there's only two reasons. I forget what the first one was that he said, and the other one was something ain't right. Yeah, yeah, I know, right? Isn't it? Shit's crazy. 20 years ago for the whole September 11th. That's such a significant date, though. Do you know that? When you look through, there's so much shit I see that happens on that date. Strange that it was 911 too. You know, what town was that in again? Was it Cleveland, Ohio? What really kills me, what really kills me is when I was, when you think about it, right? Those women had been missing for that amount of time. And I imagine, I mean, okay, so in so many cases where a child has gone missing, the first thing that the cops either do is they'll claim that they ran away or they'll blame the parents. Now imagine if your kid just went missing, right? And they've got you in interrogation for 48 hours or, I mean, when they do that shit, they do that like fucking, I mean, non-stop, right? Non-stop. Even if they never end up getting what they want out of you because you didn't do it. All that time went by. All that time went by where they thought they would just torture you into a confession while you're sitting there thinking in your head, I want to be looking for my loved one and knowing they're not looking because they think, we can just get this person if we torture them enough to confess. And there, we're done. And they're not fingerprinting. They're not doing any of that shit. Nothing. They're not. And I'm not against, you know, the police. And trust me, I'm not. And I will give credit where credit due. You see an officer that's totally, doing the right thing. But it isn't like you see in those crime shows where they're coming with that red laser to look at the trajectory and they're like really figuring it out. I mean, even when my car was constantly getting vandalized, I mean, my God, this guy snapped off, or twisted my windshield wipers like this. Fucking fingerprint them. Was there a camera? No, no camera, but this is the first time this has ever happened. The person that used to do it all the time was here. I mean, put two and two together, man. But was there a camera? Is it on camera? No, it's not on camera. Okay, so if you can't convict anybody if it's not on camera, then how the hell are they convicting all these people that there's no evidence in that? But they've already ruined their lives by then because they sit waiting. And that's another thing I never understand. Isn't that part of your like your the Constitution or whatever, your civil liberties is a speedy trial? But what's this innocent until proven guilty? Innocent until proven guilty. But if you sat in jail, your trial hasn't even come up yet. Okay, let's take for instance this Weldon, Stuart Weldon, Stuart Weldon. Okay, when he goes on trial, and he hasn't yet, hasn't gone on trial yet, and when he does, isn't there going to be no way to give him a jury trial without thinking that the jury has already seen all over social media everything about it? And so he can't get like a fair trial. Because, not that he, I mean, he definitely did it. I mean, it's in the house. They were buried in his house. One was rotting in his basement. It's his house. What happened to guilty by association? He's associated with the house. He owns it. He was the one running from the cops. I don't even understand that shit. They got to prove. Why does he even get a trial? Who else was it? What's his defense for that? Why does he get a trial? Why would he get a trial? It was in his house. I'll tell you who didn't get any kind of justice: the women that were reported missing. And nobody looked for them except for their family, except the one from Ludlow, was never reported missing by anybody. The young white girl with a baby. Isn't that weird? I mean, if she had a baby, why didn't the person who had the baby, like, did she have the baby and have custody? And if she didn't, did she adhere to her visitation rights and go to them and, still show interest in her child? And then all of a sudden she doesn't? Why wouldn't she have been reported missing? She had a baby. I could see if she didn't have a baby. Or even if she had a baby and never saw it, okay, then they're used to her, not even the baby. But did she see her? It was a baby, and there was pictures of her with a baby. But here's the thing. I can kind of understand it because I have friends, right? Lifelong friends, lifelong friends. And they, you know, here's the thing about people. Sometimes, you know how people go, oh, it's always, that one love of your life or your soulmate or this or that, right? Say you never meet them, and say you don't have a family that you're close with, or you don't have any family, or they've all passed away, or whatever, okay? Let's say that. And then there's people I've known my whole life, like gone to school with and stuff, that the last thing they knew was that I had cancer, and they don't reach out. Not that I hate it, but I mean, like, I see that so often. Like, there was a kid, he passed away. Even myself, like, I'll be in shock when I see somebody I've known passed away. And I'll be like, oh my God, and you think to yourself, like, wow, people could be gone at such a, or if somebody, and I knew my downstairs neighbor. She had a friend, right, who called, who I guess was a depressed type of person. Not my downstairs neighbor here, my old apartment. And I can't remember the woman's name, but her name was Mary, right? And she had a friend who was very, like, had a problem with depression. And Mary had, a boyfriend and stuff. And, she was happy. Her life was happy. But this other person's life wasn't. So the woman called her one night and Mary just didn't feel like talking to her. So she was like, "Oh, well, I'll give you a call back, blah, blah, blah. I'm watching a show with, my boyfriend, blah, blah, blah." Didn't even really give the lady time to talk. Well, a day or two went by and she didn't call her back. And then she thought, "Oh, let me give her a call." And her son answered and said that his mother had killed herself. You know, just make a minute for people, you know? Just take a minute for people. Even if, whatever the case may be, just take a little time out for people. Maybe when people go, "Oh, take time out to stop and smell the roses," maybe they don't mean literal roses. Maybe they mean like smell the coffee, like wake up. Everything isn't as it appears. Everybody's life isn't rosy, and every hello isn't wasted. You know, every kind word might be somebody's rose. You know, fucking people shouldn't make such efforts to be mean to people. I've been the subject of people making conscious effort to be mean, to say rotten things. I'm sure we all have. Some people that haven't been, they want to be. You know what I mean? They want to be. They feel like, why doesn't anybody, they want to be. Some people want that. I mean, another form of Munchausen. So they make up things and whatever. But when you're really, or people aren't that way and they call that, they say to other people, "Oh, you're drama, you're drama." But here's the thing, just because it's not happening to you, it shouldn't be so difficult. Take a moment and imagine that it was happening to you. Because we all have an imagination. We all can create any scenario in our mind if you stop and you make a conscious effort and you think about it. Some people can describe a moment with words and make you feel it. Like I was watching a podcast on missing people, and I know from experience, just because you take your eye off them and they're not there for a minute, and it just so happened it was this stupid little kid telling my daughter to hide, and I didn't know, right? And it was at an amusement park, and it was a busy amusement park, right? Right in front of me, right in front of me. And then the next thing gone, because this little older girl that they're holding hands had pulled her around this thing and was like, "Oh, it'll be fun, let's just hide." Well, it wasn't fun. All of a sudden, the people around me seemed like it was spinning. It was spinning, and I'm yelling her name out, and I wanted to run and fall to the ground at the same time because I'm just yelling, and it was spinning. I mean, you can't split yourself in enough pieces to search as many spots as you want, and at the same time, your knees are weak. Now, I fortunately was able to find them. But for the people who haven't, and they must look every single day at every face, you know, at every face must, there must be times they probably ran up and, touched somebody and said, hey, and it's not them, they turn around and just, that's why I'm thinking of that Castro case where that guy had them for 10 years. They should never stop looking in it. And nobody should be called a Jane Doe. There's too much technology to call somebody a Jane Doe. Anyway, you guys, peace, love, and tacos. Take care. Have a wonderful day. A wide array of subjects tonight today, but love you guys.